The stars were quiet that night. A soft hum of engines filled the dark corridors of the human battleship Dauntless. Commander Rylan Kane stood by the viewport, staring at the endless stretch of black dotted with tiny, distant suns. No one spoke, but every soldier knew what was coming. The humans were about to enter the sector that even veteran fleets whispered about in fear. The galaxy had always seen humans as insignificant, weak, fragile. But humans, Rylan thought, were nothing if not unpredictable. Their ships might not have the elegance of the Quorath cruisers or the firepower of the Draven dreadnoughts, but humans had something no one else seemed to understand: chaos. Controlled, sharp, deadly chaos. "Sir." Lieutenant Mara approached, her voice low. "Sensors show activity ahead. Something unusual." Rylan nodded. "Unusual is our specialty. Keep the fleet ready, but don't fire first." Humans had a strange rule in battle: never start a fight you can't control. But if the enemy blinked first, there was no mercy. The viewport flashed with sensor readings. A squadron of alien ships drifted ahead, sleek and black, almost invisible against the void. They moved in silence, but their formation betrayed discipline. These were not simple raiders or pirates. These were professional soldiers. And they were not expecting humans. "Distance?" Rylan asked, his eyes never leaving the screen. 8,000 kilometers, closing fast," Mara replied. "Alert the crews," he said. "Prepare for anything." Meanwhile, in the alien fleet, the captain of the lead ship frowned at his screen. "What is this?" he muttered. The radar showed humans. Just humans. Alone. Not even their allies accompanied them. "Scan their weapons." The readings made his brow furrow deeper. "This is impossible," he said aloud. "They shouldn't have the firepower for this sector." But humans were always impossible. Back on Dauntless, Rylan walked through the corridors. Soldiers scurried past him, adjusting their armor, checking weapons, murmuring prayers to gods he didn't believe in. Yet there was a calm in the chaos. Humans thrived when everyone else panicked. He entered the war room. Maps of the sector glowed on large screens. Dotted lines marked enemy movements. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Sora Ven, looked worried. "Sir, if we engage now, the fleet ahead may not survive," she said. Rylan leaned over the table. "Then we don't engage now. We wait. Let them make a mistake. Humans have survived against odds that would crush other species. That's why the galaxy fears us." The words were simple, but in them lay centuries of reputation. Humans had been underestimated, mocked, and attacked countless times. And every time, they had risen. Somehow, always. As the minutes ticked by, tension built. The human fleet stayed in formation, silent and deadly. The alien ships edged closer, unaware of the trap forming around them. Then, without warning, the first shots fired. Not from the humans but from the aliens. Energy beams streaked across space, lighting up the dark. The human ships shook as shields absorbed the impact. "Return fire," Rylan barked. The humans didn't just fire back. They executed maneuvers that seemed impossible. Ships twisted, rolled, and darted between volleys. Their weapons struck with terrifying precision, hitting weak points the aliens didn't even know existed. Ships that had been considered invincible crumbled under a storm of human fire. Somewhere in the middle of the chaos, Rylan noticed a small, barely detectable object moving toward the alien flagship. "That's too small to matter," Mara whispered. "Sometimes," Rylan said, "the smallest things change everything." In moments, the small object slammed into the flagship, detonating in a blinding flash. The alien command ship shuddered violently, losing formation. Confusion rippled through the alien fleet like wildfire. Humans never needed numbers, they needed opportunity. Rylan's voice was calm over the comms, almost too calm. "Focus. Exploit their mistakes. Do not stop until they retreat." And retreat they did. Slowly, hesitantly, then in full panic. The galaxy had never seen humans like this before. Not as conquerors, not as soldiers, not as monsters of the battlefield. And tonight, one more fleet learned that lesson the hard way. As silence returned to the stars, Rylan looked at his crew. Faces tired, but eyes shining. "This was just the beginning," he said. "The galaxy thinks it knows us. Let's prove it wrong." Somewhere far away, the alien captain stared at the empty space where his fleet had been. His voice shook. "Humans, they shouldn't be able to do that. They always could." The stars outside Dauntless glimmered, indifferent to human victories or alien fears. But for those aboard the ship, the galaxy felt smaller and ripe for the taking. The stars were quiet again, but only for a moment. The human fleet drifted among the wreckage of the defeated alien squadron. Smoke and debris floated silently through the void, illuminated by distant starlight. Commander Rylan Kane didn't celebrate. Victory was always dangerous. The galaxy never forgave a mistake, and humans had just made a statement. Lieutenant Mara scanned the remaining fleet with narrowed eyes. "Sir, some enemy ships are retreating, but they're sending messages. They're calling for reinforcements." Rylan's jaw tightened. "Then we have a choice. We can pursue them, or we can prepare for the storm they'll bring." He stared out at the void. "The galaxy hates humans, Mara. They fear us because they know what we can do. And now, they'll want revenge." Somewhere in the distance, a flicker of light betrayed the approach of another fleet. Not small ships this time. Capital ships, larger than anything humans had ever faced. Their engines glowed like burning coals, and their weapons radiated deadly energy. Lieutenant Sora Ven stepped forward, her face pale. "Sir, that's a full battle fleet. Even if we fight together, we might not survive this." Rylan shook his head, almost smiling. "We don't fight together, Sora. We fight smarter. Always smarter." The humans had no time to hesitate. Orders were given quickly, efficiently. Ships spread out, forming unpredictable formations that seemed chaotic but were carefully calculated. Sensors scanned the enemy ships, searching for weaknesses. In the alien fleet, the admiral's fingers flew across controls. "Focus fire on the humans. Destroy them before they adapt." His voice was sharp, commanding, but there was fear beneath it, raw and undeniable. Rylan walked down the corridors, watching his crew. Each face held determination, but no one smiled. Humans didn't need celebration in battle, they needed focus. Each soldier knew their role. Each weapon, each system, each ship had a purpose. The galaxy had never seen soldiers who could turn even despair into strategy. Then came the first strike. Energy beams cut through the dark like knives. Explosions rocked the Dauntless, shaking corridors and sending sparks flying. Humans hit back immediately. "Target the lead ships," Rylan commanded. "Distract them, confuse them." Humans had learned long ago that brute force was often useless against larger enemies. Instead, they relied on speed, unpredictability, and sheer creativity. One squadron feigned retreat, drawing the alien fleet into a narrow asteroid field. Another squadron dropped energy mines in patterns that made no sense, until they detonated, destroying ships with precision no alien commander could anticipate. Amid the chaos, Rylan noticed something strange. A lone alien vessel moved differently than the others. It wasn't retreating, attacking, or hiding. It was circling, observing. "Sir," Mara said, pointing to the ship, "it's not engaging. It's waiting." Rylan's eyes narrowed. "Interesting. Let's see what it wants." A message suddenly appeared on human comms. The alien voice was distorted but clear. "Humans, you are dangerous, but this is not war, yet." Rylan leaned back, studying the stars. "They think talking will save them. It won't." The mysterious ship hovered at the edge of battle, avoiding attacks but drawing attention. Rylan ordered a small strike team to intercept it. The team maneuvered carefully, dodging alien fire, closing in on the vessel that had not yet committed to battle. Inside the human interception ship, Lieutenant Kane adjusted his targeting. Approaching. Ready to board or scan. Scan first, Rylan replied. We need information more than we need revenge right now. The scan revealed something shocking. The ship carried a small, living cargo, humans. But they weren't normal humans. They were altered, genetically enhanced, their bodies glowing faintly with strange energy. Rylan's heart skipped a beat. They've experimented on humans. Sir, Mara said, these could be the key to why they feared humans in the first place. Or, the reason we could lose everything. The alien ship didn't wait. It launched an escape pod carrying the altered humans. The pod shot into the asteroid field, disappearing in the shadows. Rylan clenched his fists. We follow. No one gets left behind. As the human fleet chased the pod, the galaxy watched in silent awe. These humans were unstoppable, fearless, and utterly unpredictable. Every move they made seemed to defy logic, yet somehow it worked. Even veteran admirals of the alien fleets whispered in fear, we cannot understand them, yet we cannot defeat them. Hours passed, and the pod led them to a derelict station hidden in an uncharted system. The station floated silently, abandoned by time but still intact. Rylan's ship docked cautiously. The crew entered the station, weapons ready, senses alert. The station was empty, dark, but not dead. The air crackled with strange energy, and the walls seemed almost alive. And then a voice echoed through the station. Calm. Measured. Terrifying. Humans, it said. Welcome to your trial. Rylan's blood ran cold, but he didn't show it. Humans were never the first to back down. He glanced at his crew. We started this fight. Let's finish it, our way. Somewhere far away, the alien admiral watched the transmission, eyes wide in disbelief. They don't even know what they're walking into. But humans always did. And tonight, the galaxy would learn that lesson again. The derelict station loomed like a ghost in the darkness. Its metal walls were scratched and worn, as if time itself had forgotten it. Commander Rylan Kane stepped carefully onto the cold floor, his boots echoing softly. Every human soldier around him held their weapons ready, scanning shadows that could hide anything. Hostile aliens, traps, or worse. Lieutenant Mara's eyes flicked to the walls. Sir, this place is unnatural. The readings are strange. Energy levels are off the charts. Rylan nodded slowly. Then we need to find the source. Stay alert. Humans survive because we see what others ignore. The corridors twisted and curved in ways that seemed almost impossible. Metal beams bent around corners, hallways narrowed and then widened without pattern. The station seemed alive, as if it wanted them to feel disoriented. As they moved deeper, the lights flickered. Shadows stretched across the walls, making soldiers tense. Then they heard it, a faint humming, like the sound of electricity mixed with a heartbeat. Something's here, Mara whispered. Or someone, Rylan said. They rounded a corner and found a large chamber. At its center was a transparent cylinder filled with a strange glowing liquid. Inside floated the altered humans. Their bodies glowed faintly, veins pulsing with light. Their eyes were closed, but their expressions were calm, almost peaceful. Rylan stepped closer. These are experiments, he murmured. They've been changed, enhanced. Lieutenant Sora then frowned. Sir, are they alive? Or just puppets? Rylan studied the cylinder. Alive. Definitely alive. But what did the aliens do to them? And why? Before anyone could answer, the station shuddered violently. Alarms blared, lights strobing red. The walls creaked and shifted. Trap! Shouted one of the soldiers. It's a trap. The floor beneath them opened. Panels slid back, revealing deep pits filled with unknown machinery and moving cables. Mechanical arms shot out, trying to grab the humans. Rylan shouted orders. Split. Flank the arms. Protect the cylinder. Soldiers dove to the sides, shooting at the mechanical arms with rifles and laser weapons. Sparks flew as shots struck the machinery. The alien devices were faster than anything they had seen, but humans had instinct, creativity, and unpredictability. With careful timing, they disabled most of the arms. The cylinder trembled. The glowing humans inside began to stir. Their eyes opened, revealing strange, bright pupils that seemed almost like stars. The energy in their bodies surged, pulsing outward like waves. "Sir, they're activating," Mara said, her voice trembling. Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Don't interfere, yet. Let's see what they can do." Suddenly, the glowing humans projected a wave of energy from the cylinder. The force slammed into the station's walls, tearing metal and sending sparks flying. The remaining mechanical arms were destroyed instantly, and the station shuddered again as if it had taken a deep breath. Ryland felt a thrill run through him. Humans, his kind, were unstoppable when pushed. These altered humans were proof that even the galaxy's most advanced enemies could not predict what humans could become. But the moment was brief. A shadow moved in the corner. A figure appeared, tall, alien, and wearing armor that shimmered with strange energy. Its eyes glowed the same way as the humans in the cylinder. "You should not have come here," the alien said, its voice deep and hollow. Ryland stepped forward. "We're not afraid of impossible odds." The alien smiled, a slow, terrifying curve. "Humans, you amuse me. But this station, these experiments, they are mine. And you will pay." Before anyone could respond, the alien unleashed a wave of energy from its hands. The humans around Ryland were thrown back, hitting the walls. Sparks flew, alarms screamed. Ryland shook off the impact, rallying his soldiers. "Focus fire. Do not let it escape." Bullets and energy blasts struck the alien, but it moved with impossible speed, dodging effortlessly. It was strong, cunning, and relentless, like nothing the human soldiers had ever faced. Then, from the cylinder, the altered humans moved. They stepped out of the glowing liquid, and their bodies radiated power. Their movements were swift and precise. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. They acted. The alien paused, eyes widening. "No. This cannot be." The altered humans attacked in perfect coordination. They struck with energy blasts and physical strikes, pushing the alien back. Ryland's soldiers watched in awe. These humans were something beyond ordinary. Something the galaxy had never seen. The alien stumbled and roared, unleashing a wave of energy that shattered part of the station. Debris rained down, sparks flying, alarms screaming. But the altered humans pressed on, relentless, until the alien faltered. Ryland saw his chance. He raised his weapon. "End it." A single, precise shot struck the alien's chest, sending it flying into a wall. The alien collapsed, unconscious or dead, it was impossible to tell. The station went silent. Only the hum of the altered humans remained, their glowing forms illuminating the wreckage. Ryland and his soldiers regrouped, staring in disbelief. Mara whispered, "Sir, they're humans, but more. Something more." Ryland nodded. "The galaxy thinks it knows us. But it doesn't. And now, it will learn." Outside the station, unknown to humans, a fleet watched. Cameras had captured everything. Messages were sent at light speed to distant worlds. The galaxy would not forget this day. The humans, the altered humans, had shown their true power. And far away, in a place untouched by stars, a voice whispered, "The humans are evolving, faster than we feared." Ryland looked at the glowing humans and felt a mix of pride and unease. Power like this came with consequences. He didn't know what awaited them next, but one thing was clear: the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. And this was only the beginning. The derelict station was quiet now, but the calm was fragile. Commander Ryland Kane stood among the wreckage, the altered humans nearby, their glowing forms pulsing softly in the darkness. His soldiers moved cautiously, scanning every corridor. The battle had ended, but the danger had only begun. Lieutenant Mera broke the silence. "Sir, sensors show the alien fleet has regrouped. They're gathering strength and sending messages to every major power in the sector." Ryland's jaw tightened. Of course. They won't let this go unanswered. The galaxy will come for us. The altered humans remained silent. They didn't speak, didn't ask questions. They simply watched, waiting, understanding things no one else could. Ryland had no idea what they were capable of, only that they were a force the galaxy had never imagined. Lieutenant Sora Ven approached cautiously. "Sir, if these aliens are calling for reinforcements, it could be hundreds of ships. Maybe thousands. Are we ready for that?" Ryland's eyes narrowed. "We don't wait to be ready. We act. Humans survive because we do the impossible. That's how we've always won." Outside the station, the stars were no longer calm. Signals flashed across the void, warning fleets to prepare. Alien powers that had ignored humans for decades suddenly paid attention. Commander Kane's victory had made the galaxy nervous, and nervous enemies were dangerous. Inside the station, Ryland studied the altered humans. They were calm, almost serene, but the energy around them was undeniable. Mera studied the data from their scans. "Sir, they're not just enhanced. Their bodies, their minds, they're synchronized with each other. Almost like a single organism, but still independent." Ryland nodded slowly. "They're humans. But they're more. Something the galaxy cannot fight, not yet." A sudden tremor shook the station. The lights flickered, and alarms blared. Ryland grabbed a handrail as debris fell from above. The altered humans reacted instantly, moving toward the walls that were crumbling, stabilizing the structure with their energy. "Sir," Mera shouted over the noise, "we need to leave. The station won't hold much longer." Ryland looked at the altered humans. They didn't need orders. They moved as one, guiding the soldiers toward the docking bay, protecting them from falling debris and energy surges. As they reached the docking bay, a small fleet of alien ships emerged from the darkness, surrounding the station. The message was clear: humans were trapped. Ryland took a deep breath. "Everyone to ships. Launch immediately. We fight only if necessary." The humans climbed aboard, the altered humans moving with them. Once inside the ships, the docking bay doors closed, and engines roared to life. The station trembled one last time before collapsing in a storm of metal and energy, disappearing into the void. Outside, the alien fleet fired relentlessly, energy beams tearing through space. But humans didn't panic. Ships darted in and out of fire, twisting and turning unpredictably. The altered humans released waves of energy, deflecting attacks, destroying enemy ships before they could even aim properly. Lieutenant Sora Ven stared in awe. "Sir, they're incredible. They're not just helping, they're winning this fight." Ryland allowed himself a small smile. "They're humans. The galaxy always forgets that." But even as the human fleet escaped, a more serious threat loomed. Far across the sector, alien commanders sent warnings to every corner of the galaxy. Messages went to worlds untouched by humans, to empires that had never considered humanity a threat. The humans had won the battle, but now the war was spreading. Entire fleets mobilized. Alien empires that had fought among themselves suddenly united against a single target: humanity. Ryland's mind raced. He knew that survival meant more than battles. It meant strategy, cunning, and knowing how to strike fear into those who thought themselves stronger. In the middle of the chaos, the altered humans gathered around him. Their glowing forms pulsed brighter, as if sensing the approaching threat. One of them extended a hand, touching the control panel of Dauntless. Data flashed across the screens: strategic information, enemy positions, weak points in their defenses. Mera gasped. "Sir, they can think faster than any AI, faster than any general. They're almost like living supercomputers." Rylan studied them. They're human. But the galaxy has never had to deal with humans like this before. Suddenly, a warning flashed on the comms. A massive fleet had jumped into the sector, engines blazing, weapons primed. Hundreds of ships, more than the humans had ever faced. The galaxy was coming for them, united and furious. Rylan clenched his fists. So be it. The galaxy will learn the same lesson again. Humans survive. Humans fight. And humans never give up. The altered humans pulsed, energy rising, ready for the next battle. Rylan knew this fight would be harder than anything they had faced. But for the first time, he felt a strange calm. With these humans by his side, the impossible was possible. As the alien fleet closed in, the stars themselves seemed to darken. The galaxy held its breath. And Commander Kane smiled grimly. Let them come. The humans would not run. They would not surrender. And the galaxy, every empire, every fleet, would tremble at the power of a species that refused to be underestimated. The void ahead was filled with enemy ships, hundreds, maybe thousands, spanning the horizon like a black ocean. Commander Rylan Kane gripped the railing of the bridge, eyes scanning the massive fleet. Every alien species that had ever underestimated humans now converged, united against them. This was not just a battle. It was a galaxy-wide challenge. Lieutenant Mara's voice trembled slightly. Sir, this is bigger than anything we've faced. We're outnumbered and outgunned. Rylan's expression was calm, almost serene. Mara, that's exactly why humans survive. The galaxy expects fear. The galaxy expects retreat. But humans, we fight. The altered humans moved among the fleet, their glowing forms casting light over the ships. Their eyes scanned, analyzing, calculating, communicating silently with each other. Their energy rippled through the ships, boosting shields, synchronizing maneuvers, and anticipating enemy attacks. Lieutenant Sora Ven whispered, Sir, they're controlling the fleet, almost like a single mind. Rylan nodded. Exactly. Humans never just fight, they adapt. And these humans, they're beyond adaptation. The alien fleet fired first. Energy beams tore through space, striking the human ships. Explosions rocked the Dauntless and its squadron, but the altered humans reacted instantly. Waves of energy deflected the attacks, dissipating the beams before they could hit. Ships that would have been destroyed remained intact. Form a wedge. Rylan ordered. Use their momentum against them. The humans maneuvered unpredictably, darting in and out of enemy fire. The altered humans guided them, creating openings in the massive enemy formation. Human ships struck precise weak points in the alien vessels. One by one, alien ships were disabled, some destroyed entirely. But the enemy was relentless. A massive dreadnought moved to the center, its engines glowing brighter than stars, weapons primed for annihilation. Sir, that ship could destroy us all, Mara said, her voice tight with tension. Rylan's eyes narrowed. Then it's the one we hit first. A small strike team, guided by the altered humans, split off. Using asteroids and debris as cover, they approached the dreadnought. Energy pulses rippled from the altered humans, weakening the ship's shields and systems. In a coordinated strike, the human team fired at precise angles, targeting the dreadnought's engines and weapon systems. The massive ship shuddered violently, then erupted in a fiery explosion, debris scattering across the void. The alien fleet faltered, morale shaken. Rylan allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction. One down, he said quietly. Many more to go. But the aliens were far from defeated. From the shadows, another wave of ships approached, faster, more aggressive, and more organized than before. It was clear, they had learned from their mistakes. They were preparing for a full-scale assault. Inside the Dauntless, Rylan studied the altered humans. Their glowing forms pulsed faster, their eyes reflecting knowledge beyond human comprehension. Mara leaned close. Sir, Do you think they understand the full scale of this war? The number of enemies we face? Ryland shook his head. They don't need to understand. Humans never fight alone. And neither do they. Suddenly, one of the altered humans extended a hand toward the fleet. A massive wave of energy erupted, moving faster than light, striking enemy ships across the horizon. Explosions erupted simultaneously, crippling dozens of alien vessels. The fleet faltered again, confusion spreading among the enemy ranks. Sora whispered, "Sir, they're changing the battle itself. They're rewriting how it's fought." Ryland's lips curved into a grim smile. Humans do that. Always. But victory came with a cost. Several human ships had been damaged, and a small number were destroyed entirely. The altered humans moved swiftly, stabilizing the damaged ships and healing critical systems with waves of energy. Each movement was precise, almost surgical, and incredibly efficient. As the battle raged, Ryland's comms lit up. A message appeared from an alien admiral, trembling but defiant. "Humans, you cannot win. Your kind will be destroyed." Ryland leaned back, eyes cold. "They always say that. And they're always wrong." He turned to his crew. "We've survived worse. We've faced impossible odds and come out stronger. Today, the galaxy learns that humans never give up." But even as the human fleet pushed forward, a new, darker presence appeared on the edge of the battlefield. A ship larger than any dreadnought, blacker than the void itself, radiating energy that bent light around it, emerged. Its size alone blocked out distant stars. "Sir." Mara's voice shook. "That ship, it's huge. I've never seen anything like it." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "Then we face it head-on. The galaxy fears humans because we do not run. And this is our next test." The altered humans pulsed brighter, their energy rising in anticipation. It was clear, they were ready to face anything. Ryland took a deep breath. "All ships, focus fire on the black ship. Humans never lose when we fight together. Today, we make history." The fleet surged forward, the glow of altered humans leading the way. The massive black ship loomed closer, the void itself trembling under its presence. And the galaxy watched. For the first time, it understood the true power of humans, and it feared what was coming. The void trembled with the presence of the black supership. It was larger than anything humans had ever faced, darker than the deepest space, and radiated power that made even veteran commanders shiver. Commander Ryland Kane stood on the bridge of Dauntless, gripping the rail, his eyes locked on the looming threat. Lieutenant Mara's voice shook, though she tried to hide it. "Sir, that ship, it's unlike anything in the galaxy. Its energy, it could destroy us all." Ryland's gaze was cold, unflinching. "Mara, humans survive where others fail. That's what the galaxy forgets every time. We fight. And we never give up." The altered humans glowed brighter than ever, pulsing in perfect synchrony. Their presence radiated through the human fleet, strengthening shields, enhancing weapons, and coordinating every maneuver. It was no longer a fleet. It was a single organism, every human and altered human moving as one. The black ship opened fire. Energy beams lanced out, cutting swathes through space. Explosions tore apart human ships. Alarms blared. The void shook. "Brace for impact!" Ryland shouted, gripping his chair as the Dauntless shook violently. But the altered humans acted instantly. Waves of energy rippled outward, deflecting the beams and stabilizing the human ships. Ryland's fleet moved like liquid, twisting and flowing unpredictably around the black ship's attacks. Lieutenant Sora Ven whispered, "Sir, they're unstoppable. They're controlling the battlefield itself." Ryland's lips curved into a grim smile. "Humans always are." The black supership launched massive drones, mechanical horrors larger than most human cruisers. They swarmed like predators, targeting the human fleet with deadly precision. But the altered humans countered effortlessly. Their energy pulses disabled the drone's engines, shredded weapon systems, and in moments, the swarm was scattered and destroyed. Rylan gave the order. All ships, converge. Focus on the core of that ship. We take it down now, together. The human fleet surged forward, weaving through enemy fire. The altered humans led the charge, coordinating every strike with perfect timing. Explosions rocked the black ship, sparks flying into the void as pieces of its hull tore away. Inside the black ship, the alien commander watched in disbelief. Impossible, humans. They cannot. Before he could finish, the altered humans acted. They projected a wave of energy directly into the black ship, penetrating its shields, dismantling its weapon systems, and striking the core. The ship shuddered violently, groaning like a dying beast. Rylan seized the moment. Now. Full power, everything we've got. The fleet fired in unison. Energy beams, missiles, and lasers tore into the black ship. The altered humans focused their energy on the core. The ship shook, systems failing, lights flickering. Then, with a deafening roar that seemed to echo across space itself, the black supership exploded in a blinding flash. Silence fell. Debris drifted in the void, glowing faintly under distant starlight. The human fleet floated among the wreckage, battered but alive. Rylan exhaled, feeling the weight of the battle lift slightly. His soldiers looked exhausted, but their eyes shone with triumph. He turned to the altered humans, who stood among them, glowing softly, serene and powerful. Mara whispered, "Sir, they're incredible. They saved us all." Rylan nodded slowly. "They are humans. Just humans." The aftermath was quiet but tense. Messages from across the galaxy began to pour in, warnings, pleas, and reports of alien fleets retreating in fear. Humanity had shown its power, and the galaxy had no choice but to recognize it. But the altered humans did not celebrate. They did not smile or speak. They simply pulsed softly, their energy still rippling, still ready. Rylan realized something then. They are the future, and the galaxy will never forget this day. Weeks later, the human fleet returned to a secure base. Survivors were celebrated, but Rylan did not linger on praise. He walked among his soldiers, checking on the wounded, ensuring the fleet was ready for whatever came next. The altered humans remained a mystery. Scientists and engineers studied them, but they could not fully understand their abilities. They were human, but more. Far more. Rylan stood on the bridge one final time, looking at the stars. The galaxy had been challenged, and humanity had prevailed. And yet, he knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would adapt. It would regroup. But humans would always rise. Lieutenant Mara joined him quietly. "Sir, what now?" Rylan's eyes glimmered with determination. "Now, we keep moving forward. Humans survive. Humans fight. Humans always win." And far away, unseen and unheard, alien empires whispered in fear. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Underestimate humanity at your own peril. The stars were calm once more, but the echo of human triumph would resonate forever. And in that quiet, Commander Kane allowed himself a rare smile. Humanity had faced the impossible, and had won. The galaxy would never be the same.